Rhode Island gun laws, what you need to know. If you live in Rhode Island or want to carry a gun there, pay attention. The rules are tricky, strict, and always changing. If you don't follow them just right, you could lose your right to own a gun or even get in big trouble. But don't worry, I'll explain everything so you stay safe and legal. And make sure to watch until the end for some surprising facts and statistics. Oh, and if you carry a gun, go to relaxedfittactical.com for comfy, athletic, concealed carry clothes. Chapter 1. Buying a gun in Rhode Island. Let's start with how to legally buy a firearm in Rhode Island, because if you don't follow these steps exactly, your purchase could get delayed or denied, and nobody wants that. First off, buying a handgun in Rhode Island, you must be at least 21 years old to purchase any firearm, including handguns, rifles, and shotguns. Before you can buy a handgun, you'll need to pass a safety exam and get a handgun safety certificate, better known as a blue card. You can take this test at the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, DEM, or a certified firearms dealer. However, it's important to note that active duty military members, active and retired law enforcement officers, correctional officers, and individuals licensed to carry a concealed firearm by Rhode Island General Law, Perch 11-47-11, are exempt from this requirement. Every purchase requires a background check. This is handled by the Rhode Island State Police or your local law enforcement agency. Then, there's the 7-day waiting period, so don't expect to walk out of the store with your new gun the same day. Now, what about younger firearm users? While you must be 21 to buy a gun, if you're 18 or older, you can legally possess and use a firearm under specific conditions, like hunting or target shooting at ranges under the supervision of a qualified adult. Possessing a firearm for work-related purposes, such as law enforcement or military service. Now let's talk about rifles and shotguns. The same rules apply. You must be 21 or older, pass a background check, and wait 7 days before taking possession of the firearm. Hopefully you're not in any immediate danger. No special licensing is required for rifles or shotguns, but this could change in the future, so stay updated. One important thing to know, private sales still require a background check. We'll cover all of that in Chapter 4, so hold on and hit that like button if this has been helpful so far. Chapter 2. Carrying firearms in Rhode Island. This is where things start to get tricky. Whether you're looking to concealed carry or wondering about open carry, the state has very specific rules, and not following them can get you in serious legal trouble. Rhode Island has a dual permitting system when it comes to concealed carry permits, which means you have 2 different ways to get one. You can apply through your local police department or through the Attorney General's office, but there's a big difference between the two. If you go through local authorities, the law says they shall issue a permit as long as you meet all the legal requirements. That means if you qualify, they are required to give you a permit. But if you go through the Attorney General's office, it works differently. They may issue a permit at their discretion. That means even if you meet all the requirements, the Attorney General can still deny you if they don't think you have a strong enough reason to carry. And speaking of reasons, Rhode Island requires you to show a proper need to get a concealed carry permit. This isn't like some states where just wanting to protect yourself is enough. You'll need to demonstrate a valid reason, like your job puts you at risk or you have a specific documented threat against you. On top of that, you have to prove your ability to safely handle a firearm by passing a standardized shooting test. This isn't a basic safety course, it's a live fire qualification test where you have to hit targets at different distances. So if you've never practiced shooting under pressure, you'll want to train before applying. Now, what about open carry? Rhode Island does not allow open carry of loaded rifles or shotguns in public places. This law was put in place as part of a broader push for stricter gun regulations. Before that, you might see someone openly carrying a rifle slung over their shoulder. But now, that's illegal, and you could face severe criminal penalties. The only way you can legally open carry a handgun is if your concealed carry permit was issued by the Attorney General's office. If you got your permit through your local police department, it only covers concealed carry, meaning open carrying your firearm is still illegal. That's something a lot of people don't realize, and it could get you into serious trouble if you don't know the difference. The takeaway? If you're planning to carry in Rhode Island, make sure you have the right permit and understand the restrictions. The laws here aren't as simple as in other states, so double-check everything before carrying your firearm in public. And if you're still with us, don't worry, we'll recap everything at the end, and hit that like button to help us grow. Chapter 3. Assault Weapons and Magazine Capacity. Rhode Island has strict regulations when it comes to certain types of firearms and accessories, and if you're not paying attention to the details, you could accidentally break the law without realizing it. First, let's talk about assault weapon-style guns. While Rhode Island doesn't have a full-on assault weapons ban like some states, certain semi-automatic firearms are restricted. That means specific models and features could make your firearm illegal to own or transfer under state law. If you have a semi-automatic rifle, pistol, or shotgun, it's your responsibility to check whether it falls under Rhode Island's restrictions. Now, let's get into magazine capacity, because this is where things get even more annoying for you. In 2022, Rhode Island banned the sale, possession, and transfer of magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. This means if you bring a standard 30-round AR-15 mag into Rhode Island from another state, you could be breaking the law without even knowing it. That's why it's so important to double-check your gear before carrying or transporting firearms. And don't assume that law enforcement won't check, because if you get pulled over, or if your firearm is involved in an incident, and they find you with an illegal magazine, you'll be looking at criminal charges. So, whether you're buying a new firearm, modifying an existing one, or just bringing gear into Rhode Island from another state, know the laws before you travel. It's not worth risking fines, confiscation, or even jail time over something as simple as a magazine. Let us know, is Rhode Island going too far with these laws? Chapter 4. Private firearm sales. Thinking about selling or gifting a gun to someone in Rhode Island? Hold up. This isn't like some other states where you can just hand over a firearm to a buddy or sell it at a gun show with a handshake deal. Rhode Island has strict rules when it comes to private firearm sales, and if you don't follow them, you could end up facing serious legal trouble. Here's the deal. Every single private gun sale or transfer must go through a licensed firearms dealer. That means even if you're selling a gun to a friend or gifting one to your cousin, a background check must be done. The dealer will handle the paperwork, fees, conduct the background check, more fees, and ensure everything is legally compliant before the transfer takes place. Now, there is one big exception to this rule: immediate family members. If you're transferring a firearm to a spouse, parent, child, grandparent, or grandchild, you don't have to go through a dealer. But beyond that, everyone else has to go through the process, even if you trust them completely. And before you think about skipping the dealer to save some money or avoid the hassle, know this: getting caught making an illegal firearm transfer in Rhode Island is a criminal offense. That means fines, potential jail time, and losing your right to own firearms altogether. You know what's not illegal? Hitting the like button to help our channel grow. Let us know in the comments, do you think these private sale rules make sense, or are they too restrictive? Chapter 5. Red Flag Laws. Rhode Island has red flag laws, officially known as Extreme Risk Protection Orders, EOs. The goal? To prevent potential firearm-related incidents before they happen by allowing certain people to petition the court to temporarily remove someone's firearms if they're believed to be a risk to themselves or others. Here's how it works. Law enforcement, or even family members, can go to a judge and argue that someone poses a danger. Maybe they've made violent threats, are showing signs of mental distress, or are acting erratically. If the judge agrees, that person's firearms can be confiscated immediately as a temporary measure. Now, the person does have the right to a hearing to contest the order and try to get their guns back. But here's the catch: the firearms are seized first, and the defense comes later. Critics argue that this violates due process, since someone's rights are taken away based on an accusation rather than a conviction. Supporters believe these laws save lives, especially in cases of suicide prevention or stopping mass shootings. Opponents, however, worry that ERPOs set a dangerous precedent where rights can be revoked without evidence or safeguards against false claims. What do you think? Are red flag laws a necessary tool for public safety, or are they too easy to abuse? Chapter 6. Recent legislative updates. On the federal level, in January 2025, a U.S. appeals court ruled that the federal ban on licensed firearms dealers selling handguns to adults under 21 years of age is unconstitutional. This decision could impact state laws, including those in Rhode Island, that set the minimum purchasing age at 21. It's essential to monitor how this ruling may influence state regulations. As of February 2025, no such ruling has taken effect that changes Rhode Island's law yet. Additionally, in January 2025, the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act was reintroduced in Congress. If enacted, this legislation would allow individuals with concealed carry privileges in their home state to exercise those rights in any other state that permits concealed carry, while adhering to that state's laws. As of now, the bill has been referred to the House Committee on the Judiciary, and its outcome remains uncertain. Given the dynamic nature of firearm legislation, it's crucial to stay informed about both state and federal laws. Always consult the Rhode Island State Police or legal counsel for the most current information. Chapter 7. Gun Statistics in Rhode Island. Let's put everything into perspective with some real numbers. Laws are one thing, but people want to know how they actually impact gun violence, self-defense, and gun ownership in Rhode Island. First, Rhode Island has one of the lowest gun death rates in the country. In fact, from 2013 to 2022, the state saw a 45% decrease in overall gun deaths. This drop was largely due to a reduction in firearm suicides, making Rhode Island one of the safest states in terms of self-inflicted firearm-related deaths. As of 2023, Rhode Island had the fourth lowest gun death rate in the U.S., averaging 52 firearm-related deaths per year. When it comes to gun ownership, Rhode Island has relatively low numbers compared to the rest of the U.S. Only about 13.9% of households own at least one firearm, ranking the state fourth lowest in gun ownership rates nationwide. But strict gun laws don't necessarily eliminate gun violence. Nearly 80% of all gun-related homicides in the state between 2018 and 2022 occurred in Providence County, showing that gun crime is still concentrated in certain areas despite strict laws. Now let's talk about concealed carry. Rhode Island has one of the lowest rates of concealed carry permits in the country. As of July 2022, the Attorney General's office had issued 1,627 active pistol permits. Between 2019 and 2022, over 1,700 applications were processed, with more than 1,390 approved and 186 denied, which means about 11% of applicants were turned away due to issues like criminal history or false information on their application. We couldn't find any information for 2024. So what does all this tell us? Rhode Island has low gun ownership, low gun death rates, and low concealed carry numbers, but gun violence still exists, especially in urban areas like Providence County. Some people argue this proves that strict laws help reduce gun deaths, while others point out that criminals still get their hands on guns despite the restrictions. What do you think? Summary of Rhode Island. The important bits. Buying a firearm. You must be at least 21 and pass a background check with a 7-day waiting period. Carrying a firearm. Concealed carry requires a permit. Open carry of loaded rifles and shotguns is prohibited, and bans on large-capacity magazines. Own an AR-15, certain semi-automatic firearms are restricted under state law. Selling a gun privately, you must go through a licensed dealer unless transferring to immediate family. Red flag laws exist. Firearms can be temporarily confiscated through IRPOs. What's your opinion? Do you think Rhode Island's gun laws are too strict? Or just right? Why? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you concealed carry, don't forget to check us out at relaxedfittactical.com, where you can get your concealed carry athletic gear. If this video helped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.